who used to be with the Mary Jane girls and Rick James. And,
Yes.
well, she's like a cousin of mine. We don't claim each other, but we got the same last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
My maiden name is English.
English,
so,
I saw that, yeah.
so she had a party, and my apartment was down below her. So she was like, you know, bring some of your famous buffalo wings. And I'm like, oh, no. Okay, I don't have much money. I just got back to Los Angeles. So what I did is I went out, I cooked some wings, took them to the party. And the next thing I knew, the wings were gone, and Tupac was in the corner licking the bowl. Like we licked the bowl from the cake mix, right?
Oh, boy.
And he was like, okay, who made the wings? And Val kept saying, Simone made the wings. But this party was really interesting because it had Tupac Shakur, New Edition, the Mary Jane girls, Daryl Strawberry,
All right, okay.
and who else was there? I can't remember. But anyway, this was an apartment where all these people were for this party. So he came over and he was like, Simone, you can come over anytime you want. Just bring some wings. And a couple of days later, he contacted us back and was like, look, can she cook some wings at my house? And we went over to his house and I hooked up some chicken wings and we became friends after that. And he always said he just liked the part that I was a grown-up and I didn't want anything from him.
Fantastic.
But he was very much a gentleman.
Let's see.
You know,
He always did a lot of reading.
Yeah, okay.
And I think he liked being around grown-ups, as he put it, because they had their own stuff. They don't need his stuff, you know. But he was a party animal.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much into it, but I was fascinated by him because I took his book, A Rose That Grows Out of Concrete, his poetry book, and I took that into the schools. The kids love it. But then you see the other side of him, where he just dissing women and melting down in front of the police and everything else under the sun. So I just wonder which one was the real Tupac,
The real Tupac is the one that was the analytical person.
Okay.
That's the real Tupac. Now the other Tupac is a Tupac that's for TV.
Yeah.
I think that if Tupac could have had lived, he could have ran and did some politician.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they didn't want him around.
Wow.
And because he had a big mouth, and that's why they say, oh, he's alive. Tupac could not be alive and not running his mouth. He would be on TV. He was a TV guy.
He was a TV guy.
He was
okay.
a TV guy. So, but all of them had their own kind of way that they did things. You know, I asked him about how he degraded women. And he was like, Simone, they know who they are. They know who I'm talking about. And it ain't you. It's not Val. But those girls, they know who they are because they're always out there at every show, in any video. You know, they're there. So they know who they are. And I was like, he said, I would never disrespect you like that.
Okay.
So, and that's how we became close.
Yeah. Then you had Snoop Dogg. I was fascinated
I
by
was,
him.
I think what I was fascinated by, I never knew some of their real names.
Right, Calvin.
Yeah, I was like Calvin,
Yeah,
Snoop Dogg Calvin,
Right,
And I started making the association in that relationship with regard to that aspect of it. And then when you brought in the Bloods and the Crips and how everything happened in Compton and the change, and it was just fascinating.
Compton has, that first job with them was the scariest for me because it was a picnic. I'm good, but I'm just back in Cali. I want to make money. He got money, and he's sending money to me. And I'm like, okay, now I got to go do this job. But I tell you, I never seen nothing like it before. Old people, it's like you pull into this parking lot. First of all, I had been dreaming a whole week prior that I'm running from bullets at the park. And I was like, okay, God, don't let me get killed trying to make some money. So as soon as I get to the park, I pull up And the park is surrounded by these black and white police cars. I said, oh, it already happened. My dream then came true, right? Well, when I got out the car, they were like, no, we're not letting anybody in yet, death row employee or not. I was like, okay. A couple of hours went by. By the time the mayor of Compton got there is when they decided to open the park. He had to give the approval for the park to open up. But then Suge showed up. They were buddy-buddy.
He and the mayor?
Him and the mayor.
Oh, okay.
So him and the mayor, they knew what was going on. And it's around noon. The picnic was supposed to start at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. But the trees were wrapped in, you know that stretch paper that they use to hang for birthday parties?
Oh, yes, yeah.
They wrapped the trees with that in red. The people had on red, old people had on red, the babies had on red, and shit. I was like, this is unbelievable. I could never imagine these people that were old bloods, new bloods, and coming bloods. They were all there. And he had a picnic area that had death row spelled across the top in black, balloons. Suge did it big. Whenever he did stuff, he did it to the extreme. But after being away from that whole scene for a long time, I realized that he's no different than a lot of other people when they get money. And they switch back and forth, and once they got control of the situation, then they take advantage of the situation. And I think that's in the same situation with Tupac and the same situation with Snoop. It's a blessing Snoop is probably here.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, for him.
I remember he was writing that he became very afraid for his own life once they took out, Biggie Smalls and Tupac. And then it just got to be crazy out there. And that
well, they're not the only ones.
They're not the only ones?
Oh, there's a lot of them that's been
Dr. Dre,
gone.
I understand, was having some serious...
Yeah, well, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre is a nice guy, but he's not a fighter.
I didn't think so.
Okay. Ice Cube is a nice guy, but he's not real. They're not really into the gangster stuff that they pretend to do.
Yes.
They're really, these guys are very educated, well-groomed, and they talking about money. They're not talking about running around shooting at somebody. That's people don't realize is that's TV, that's the video, but that's not how they are.
And let me ask you a question based on that then. Do you think they did irreparable harm and damage to a whole generation of people because they didn't know that Tupac and those guys were really not like that? And so they tried to be like that in the schools and on the streets, not
Very
knowing
possible.
that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I always thought. I always thought to myself, man, it's not that I'm against them, it's just that they're,
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I really think that they're not the only ones that we can blame. We can blame a lot of different media outlets because they hype it up. They don't tell us that Tupac carried a little book in his back pocket that he read constantly when he wasn't doing nothing. They want to tell you something else about him. Videos, I think, have a generation of young people have gotten caught up on a negative side of it, and I think that's what's wrong with the girls now, because they taking the clothes off, they doing it all, and it's like, stop. It's not that interesting.
And then they're not respected in any regard.
Oh, and no, because that's what Tupac was saying.
Yes.
They do it all. So it's not them that's making them take their clothes off. They're doing it because they want to. And so that's why I did this book, because I want people to know that it's not that easy in the entertainment industry, and you can't compromise. You cannot compromise your life for a dollar bill.
That's right. That's right. This book can be read by teenagers and adults alike, because you would think that a book written about this particular genre area, whatever, would have all kinds of curse words and all that kind of stuff. It's not like that.
Well,
at all,
the situation happened is that my nephew, we went to Florida, and he was like, "So can I read the book?" And I thought for a second. I said, "Oh no, he can't read the book because there's too much cussing in it." So then we came back and we revamped and took all the cussing out as much as we could. And so the young people could really take a look at it, because they really are the ones that need to read the book. We don't need to read the book. We already know what's
Right.
going